morning, everyone. My name is Priskalia Nahak. Now, I would like to explain about introduction of classifying participants. So, in sentence semantics, participants are the people, animals, objects, or abstract entities that are involved in the event or action described by a verb in a sentence. Each participant plays a specific semantic role, or also called a thematic role, depending on how they interact with a verb. Classifying participants help us to analyze sentence meaning more deeply, understand the function of each noun phrase, see how different types of verb require different roles, connect sentence structure or syntax with meaning or semantics. Participants are classified according to thematic roles. Each thematic role defines a specific function or relationship that a participant has with the verb. Okay, next I would like to explain about thematic roles in sentence semantics. So, thematic roles, are also called theta roles, are labels used to describe the semantic relationship between a verb and its participants or nouns or noun phrase in a sentence. Thematic roles help us understand the meaning of sentences, link syntax or sentence structure with semantics or meaning, explain how verbs select or require certain types of participants, also essential in analyzing verb argument structure. So here are the list of common thematic roles. First, agent. Second, experiencer. Three, theme. Four, patient. Five, instrument. Six, location. Seven, goal. Eight, source. And next, recipient. And the next, beneficiary. Cause, manner, time, path, and purpose.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Aprilia Wilfrida Falo. I will explain about grammatical relations and thematic roles. The first is grammatical relations. Grammatical relations refer to the structural relations between different elements in a sentence. Key relations include: the first is subject, the door of the action or the topic of the sentence. The next is object, the river of the action or the entity affected by the actions. The next is indirect object, the recipient of the direct object. And the last is complement, provides additional information about the subject or object. And the next one is thematic roles. The first thematic roles describe the function that a noun phrase play in the context of the action or state described by the verb. Common thematic roles include: the first is agent, the entity that performs the action, e.g., the chef in the chef cook. The next is patient, the entity that is affected by the action. And the next is experiencer, the entity that experiences a state of feeling, e.g., the child in the child felt happy. The next is them, the entity that is being discussed or described often overlaps with the patient. The goal, the end point of movement or the destination, to the store, in she went to the store. And the last is source, the starting point of a movement from the park in she walked from the park. The example is: consider the sentence: the dog agent cast the cat patent into the garden goal. In this example, grammatical relation, the dog is the subject, the cat is the object, and the into the garden serves a both prepositional phrase indicating the goal. Thematic roles, the dog is the agent performing the action, the cat is the paint being effect, and into the garden indicates the goal of the action.
My name is Cendana Illu Nasaku. I will explain about verbs and thematic roles guards. Thematic roles, also called semantic roles, describe the roles played by each noun first in the event or state described by the verb. They tell us who does what to whom, what moves, where, who feels what, and so on. Common explains include agent, door, patient, receiver of the action, theme, what is the action upon or whose state is described, experiences, the one feeling, instrument, the tool used, location, goals, source. A thematic rose guard or theta guard is a concise way to represent the thematic roles that a specific verb assigns to its arguments. The noun pairs that accompany the verb. This guard is a part of the verb lexical entry and indicates the number and types of participants that are semantically required by the verb. For example, the verb put typically has an theta guard, agent, theme, location. Example, Mary put the book in the table. Mary is the agent, the book is the theme, and on the table is location. It determines how many and what types of noun pairs can meaningfully appear with that verb.
And hi everyone, I'm Theresia Helerosa Baria, and with the reg number 322300017, here I would like to explain the problem with thematic rules. So, the problem with thematic rules. Thematic roles such as agent, patient, theme, experiencer, and instrument are central to analyzing the relationship between participant in a sentence. However, there are several fundamental problems with the concept. First is ambiguity of definitions. Thematic roles are difficult to define universally because their meanings often overlap. For example, the distinction between patience as an entity undergoing change and theme as an entity being moved or in a static state is not always clear. For instance, in the sentence, Maggie cut the rose, rose can be considered either a patience because it undergoes change or a theme if the focus is on its movement or state. Second, cross-linguistic variation. Some languages do not follow the same conversation from mapping thematic roles to syntactic structures as English does. For example, in ergative absolutive language, the subject of a passive sentence may not correspond to the patient roles. Third, we have overgeneralization. Thematic roles are often too abstract to capture the specific semantic nuances of verbs. For example, verbs like see and hear both involve an experiencer, but the difference between visual and auditory perception is not accounted for. Fourth, we have alternative solutions. Some linguistics suggest using generalized semantic roles such as proto-agent and proto-patient, or more specific semantic features like animated, causative to avoid ambiguity. Next, we have the motivation for identifying thematic roles. Despite these problems, thematic roles remain important because first, it explains linking roles. Thematic roles helps predict how semantic roles map onto grammatical function like subject and object. For example, in English, agents tend to be subjects while patients or themes tend to be objects. For instance, in the sentence, Gina left the car with a jack.
Gina as the agent is the subject, car as the theme is the object, and Jack as the instrument is express a prepositional phrase. Second, it analyzing alternative sentence structures. Thematic roles allows us to analyze sentences with different syntactic structures but similar meaning. As an example, active, the dog bit the man. The agent is the dog and the patient is the man. Passive, the man was bitten by the dog. Patients become subject, agent is a prepositional phrase. Third, we have understanding verb argument structures. Certain verbs require specific combination of thematic roles. For example, the verb give requires an agent or the giver, a theme or a thing given, and a recipient or receiver. And last fourth, we have application in text analysis. Thematic roles are used to identify participants in discourse analysis. For example, in I gave you the car keys, I is the agent, key is the theme, and you is the recipient.
My name is Januaria Pule. I will explain about the causes. Causes in the sentence semantics refers to how one participant, or often the subject, causes an event or change involving another participant, or often the subject or indirect object. This can be understood through both lexical semantics, or the meaning of the verbs itself and syntaxis, structure, or how the sentence is built. Here's a breakdown. Number 1, causative verbs. This verb expresses that one participant causes another to do something or the under a change. Example include make, cause, force, let, help, or specific action verbs like kill or break. Number 2, again and pattern rules. In causative construction, the again or causer typically performs an action that affects the patient or the entity undergoes the actions. Number 3, direct and indirect causes. Some interactions imply the causer directly acts while others, so they indirectly set the condition. Direct, he pushed her into the pool. Indirect, he made her fall into the pool. Number 4, peripraxis causavis. This use auxiliary verbs like make, have, or get so causes. She had him clean the room, or she got him to clean the room. Number 5, lexical and syntaxis causes. Same causes is built into the verbs or lexical, others are created through syntaxis constructions. Lexical, kill or implies causing death. Syntaxis causes to die. Number 6, cross-linguistic variants. Different linguists use the different strategies to make causes. Some have morphological markers, others use auxiliaries or other things.
Good morning everyone, my name is Erna Armeliana, NPM 32230012. I want to explain the voice. The first is passive voice. The passive voice is a construction in which the object of an active sentence becomes the subject of the passive sentence. The main characteristic. The first is the passive subject is typically the them or patient, not agent. The next is the agent can be omit or agent dilution. The next is usually use the verb from to be plus past participles. The function of the passive. The first is focuses on the results or action rather than the performer. The next is a voice mentioning the agents. The next emphasizes the them or topic in the discourse. The next is comparing passive construction across languages. Passive construction are not identical across languages. Some languages have explicit passive structure, while others rely on different strategies. Cross languages comparison. The first, English, uses be plus past participle. The Indonesian use the prefix D on the verb. The next is cross-linguistic comparison. The English uses be and plus past participle. The Indonesian uses the prefix D on the verb. The last is middle voice. The middle voice lies between active and passive. The subject appears to both perform and receive the action, though the agent is not explicitly stated. The characteristic, the first is from appears active but conveys a passive or selective meaning. The second, the agent is not mentioned. The third, commonly used to express to attendees the portion of the object.
Hello, good morning everyone. Back with me, Agnesia, Widianingsi, Babu. And now I would like to explain about the classifiers and noun classes. First thing first, we have to know what is the definition of classifiers. Actually, classifiers are word or part of word used in some language to show what type of thing or noun, especially when counting or pointing to something. They important in semantic because they help categorize things based on meaning or semantic. So, for example, like classifiers in semantic is important because they help categorize things based on the meaning in the semantic. For example, like is that thing is long, is it is alive, or is that flat, round, or used as a tool. For example, the example of the word is like the word Chinese, Yuzigu. It means it represents about the dog, but the classifiers in this word is Z, which means is classifiers for animals. In the Japanese language, for example, the word like sanbon no pen, it means that three pen, but in the classifier in this word or in the sentence, each bone which is represent or which is the mean is for long the object. And the next, we're talking about noun classes. Noun classes are group of noun that affect how other words in sentence change, like verb or adjective. They come in many like African, Australian, and some European language. How they works? Let's talking about the noun classes explanation or the example of the word. For example, in Sawi language, mototo mzuri, or the word is the meaning in English is like good child. Mototo represent is the class one, the human, and then mzuri represent about the word good, match the noun classes. Another word like in a German language, der Tisch, or the table. It is explained in masculine. The lamp is a feminine, and the other in semantic. Some noun classes are clearly based on the meaning, like human or animal, but in many languages the meaning link is less clear and classes are grammatical instead. Okay, now we are going to talking about the feature between classifiers and noun classes. The feature used with, for the classifier you can use it with number or you can use it with quantifiers. But in noun classes you can use a whole sentence like verb or adjective. The next, the feature is based on meaning. In the classifiers, yes, it's just like a shape, size, and function. But in noun clauses, for the best, it is based on meaning or not. Sometimes often mixed with a grammar. Next, fixed fixed or flexible. In classifier, is flexible, which is depend on how the noun is used, but in noun classes is fixed. Each noun has one class. And the next is example of the language. The first is classifiers. We can see in the classifiers there are the example of the language, which is Chinese, Japanese, and Thai. But in noun classes, you can see that like the Seoul language, Zulu, German, and the Russian language. Next, we're going to talking about how they work. The first, each noun belongs to a class like gender or category, and the last is other words agree with that class using prefix or suffix. Next, we move to the conclusion. So, learning about sentence semantic and thematic rules is important because it helps to understand how meaning is built in sentence by identifying how does, what do, or who. It connects sentence structure like syntax with meaning or semantic, explain how verb requires specific participant, and help analyze different sentence from like active, passive, and the middle voice. This knowledge supports language learning, translation, and text analysis. Important concepts including participant, thematic rules, grammatical relation, the thematic grid, voice, caution, and the last is classifiers and noun classes. That's all for me. Thank you.